I have discovered the secret to becoming the version of myself that I desire to be. This is something that as women, we are not taught to live like this. Society conditions us to live small, to overfunction, to give our identities up for the comfort of others, especially men, because let's be honest, we still live in a very male-centric world. If you're a woman who's been stuck in the past and unsure how to change, how to level up your identity, how to heal, how to transform, and you have this vision of the woman you desire to be, and deep down, we know she's down here. We know she's in there, but you don't know how to get to her. Here is the secret. You have to have audacity. You know, the world always says, how dare she? Who does she think she is? That's who we're going to become. We're going to become the kind of women who makes the world say, who does she think she is? And the secret is audacity. You have to have audacity. Audacity to walk into that room. Audacity to think that you can have that life. Audacity to think that you can love yourself, wear that thing, say the thing, disturb the peace, level up, put boundaries around who has access to you. All of it requires audacity. And audacity really is believing it's, in a sense, it's delusional thinking. So here's the thing. The enemy of who we truly desire to be is our logic, is our logical mind. So I'm going to break this down for you. We're going to talk about what the logical mind is, how it keeps us held back, and how it prevents us from becoming the most powerful divine version of you that you are meant to be, and you're so powerful. And we're going to get into it because this has changed my life, this kind of changing my thinking. And I'm here to help you rewire, reclaim, rebel against the old stories, and build a new path. So let's talk about logic. Logic is just very left-sided brain activity. It focuses on facts. It focuses on the 3D, only what we can see around us. It focuses on your past experiences, and it only has that to guide you. When you get stuck in fear-based thinking and how am I going to do this, and how do I change, and you're ruminating in old thoughts, that's your logic brain. That logic brain keeps you in a very primal state, but it actually keeps us stuck because it will only keep us moving in what's familiar to us. And so when we are thinking in scarcity and lack and our limiting beliefs, we're thinking in that left side logical brain. Logic brain is the very primal part of you, and it's meant to keep you safe. It's meant to keep everything comfortable and familiar because that keeps the body essentially safe. And what is safe to our nervous system is what is familiar. But what is familiar is comfortable, and that will never help you level up your life to shift into who you desire to become. Because in order to shift into who you desire to become, you have to have the audacity. This is delusional thinking. When people say you're delusional to think that you could be that, well, you have to be delusional to conceive that you could be something other than what your logical mind is telling you today. You have to believe that you can become something that you are not today. And essentially that is delusion. But delusion is truly that you are having the audacity to believe in something that you cannot see. So really, we're going to preach here, it is faith. Audacity is faith to believe that you can become the version of you that has the life that you desire. Okay? So when we are going to shift and build audacity to make the world say, who does she think she is? She is powerful. She is worthy to walk into any room. She builds herself. She knows her worth. She surrounds herself with only those who are worthy of access to her. Who does she think she is? What audacity. Now, you don't hear the world walking around telling men what audacity he has to go and build the life that he wants. What audacity he has not to balance his work and his parenting. Who does he think he is? Guys, we are shifting out of these old systems that have kept us as women in these very limited roles. So we're shifting out of that. And in order to shift, we have to have the audacity. We've got to have the delusion to shift from our logic brain, a very primal state that keeps us ruminating and circulating in what is comfortable, in only what we know, in only what society, our caregivers, and anyone who has told us who we are. And we have to shift out of those beliefs. I'm not smart enough. I couldn't have that life. I could never make money. Those are old beliefs based on the logical brain that has gone into the past and said, well, based on past experience, that's not who you are. But what we're doing is we're shifting into our right brain. We're returning to our divine power. Okay? Because when we're choosing to have an audacious life, to live in audacity, we are choosing to step out of the past thinking about what the past experiences said about us, our old programming, and we are going to believe and begin practicing being a new version of ourselves. I did this for years. I had a lot of dysfunction and trauma as a child, and I would just spend my time imagining, visualizing the version of me as a woman that I was going to become. What I was doing, I was visualizing that powerful, worthy future version of myself, and I was feeling into what it was to be her and pulling that experience emotionally into my present. I remember doing this as a teenager. We're ending the focus on our external reality, on the marriage that's not working, on the partner that's not showing up, on the job that you feel stuck in, on your roles, on feeling small and invisible. And we're taking our focus off of the 3D external reality. That's what our logic wants us to focus on. But that our 3D reality, what we see in front of us, it's a mirror of what's happening inside of us. Because we create our internal world and our outer world is going to mirror what's happening inside. So all you see around you, the 3D, that's your logic brain when you focus on, well, I don't see that in front of me. So how could I be this? How could I become something different? Look at what's in front of me. I'm so limited. Okay? We're shifting off of that focus and we're shifting it inward. And we're visualizing the woman that we desire to be. This is the power. I want you to really sit with this. Forget what's going on around you outside. Forget all the things that are hitting the fan and all of the things that you wish would change and all the ways you feel powerless. We are conditioned to think this because you think that your inner feeling, your inner freedom, your inner abundance, who you want to be as a woman, you think it's dependent on the world showing you. But your freedom and the woman that you desire to be is dependent on who you decide you are inside first. And you have to have the audacity to choose to start thinking from the place of a queen's mind. So I want you to start sitting every day and visualizing and getting quiet and Build the muscle of your imagination. And this is where we're going to move from our left brain logic that keeps us stuck in our old limiting beliefs and our old comforts. And we're going to shift out of that into our right brain, which means returning back inside. That's your intuitive, creative, divine power. So there's a few things we need to recognize: that you have a divine power, you have a life force that wants to flow through you, and it will guide you. That is our intuition, our inner voice. We've been taught to snuff it out. We've been taught through our roles and society and religion that we cannot trust that inner voice. And so the first and most important thing, we're going to return inward, and we're going to begin getting back in touch with that inner voice. And we're going to begin visualizing that version of ourselves that we are going to step into. In order to begin trusting your inner voice, here's what I want you to do. Julia Cameron from The Artist's Way, her book has been life-changing for me. And one of the things that we start doing is we start writing morning pages every day. I encourage you, go get a copy of her book. It is like a spiritual blueprint that will help you return to the power inside of you, and it will reclaim that divine flow that's coming through you. So you have a creative life force, and you have a mission and a soul calling, but you have to rebuild your inner power, that audacity to become her, to let her flow through you. Start writing 3 pages every day. They're called morning pages. You just write. You wake up in the morning and you write. And if you have nothing to write, you just write, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. And it will start flowing. It's like all the emotional constipation and the mental garbage that's filling your mind, it will just start to filter out. And it's almost like when you turn a faucet on. Ed Sheeran, the musician, he said that when you are turning on that intuitive flow again, that creative flow that wants to come through you, it's like going to a cabin up in the mountains, like in the winter. The water hasn't been run for a long time. And when you get there to that cabin, he says, what do you need to do? Would you go and immediately just take a drink of water? No, you have to turn the faucet on, and what's going to come out? What's going to initially come out? The brown, the sediment, all the stuff that's been blocking up the fresh supply of water. So that's what we need to do in our systems. We're letting out all that emotional garbage, okay? We're getting out the how-tos and all the doubts that we have. See, you're in there, the audacious, powerful version of you that has an abundant life. She's in there, but what we're doing is we're going in there, we're like excavating all the layers that has kept you from claiming the feeling of being that version, that powerful you that has joy, that exudes peace and freedom and joy to everything, everyone around her, out of the overflow within her. So you have to unblock the dams of the life force, and we're going to return inside first. So work on your morning pages. Every day, sit, even if it's starting with 5 minutes to sit and quiet yourself. And everything about your system is going to resist it, because it is a muscle. It is a muscle that you build, and it grows. And imagination is the power. So we're going to go back to like when we were 8, when we imagined all the possibilities for our life, everything you could be, all those things, who you desire to be. Bob Proctor says, what you desire, the desires that come through you are meant to be manifested into reality. That's what manifestation really is. It's you become the version that has the life you desire. Because as you become the woman who feels like she is worthy to be visible, to create a business of her dreams, to step onto stages, to do the things you have given yourself a million reasons. Those limiting beliefs have caused such resistance in you for years because you just believed that was your identity, because you listened to your primal brain. You lived in that primal state of lack and scarcity. But we are literally upshifting ourselves and saying, yes, I'm going to step in and I'm going to begin to feel into what it feels like to live and think and believe as a queen. Okay. So even just in your morning pages, even your writing, write out, what does it feel like to be a queen? And you're going to start and say, I don't know. What does it feel like to be wealthy? What does it feel like to get paid for who you are and your gifts? What does it feel like to be so loved by a partner who shows up and just adores you? What does it feel like to be so supported in your parenting, in your work, as a friend? We're going to begin to sit and visualize and imagine. And then what we are going to do is have the audacity, get delusional. We're going to let go of logic that says, no, 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 that's not me. And we're going to walk in delusion, which is truly just the faith to believe that there is another life for you. So you are stepping out of fear and you are acting in faith. And this is true spirituality, my friends. This is the true life that we are meant to walk. All of it is meant to take us from fear to trust, fear to faith, limitation to abundance, scarcity to freedom and abundance. You are an abundant, powerful woman. And you have to decide that you are going to have the audacity to become the version of you who builds the life she is meant for. No more smallness. No more playing to your limitations. Begin to get ownership and take radical responsibility for the limitations and the thoughts that you've allowed free access to your mind to run the show for years. Okay? So I want you to start with the morning pages. Start by writing out every day. And you're going to begin to feel the life force, that ecosystem that begins coming back alive within you. And this is how we return to our joy. This is how we find our true soul calling. And this is what midlife is, this reinvention. You're not really reinventing anything. We're really just remembering how much was always in us and how the divine is always wanting to flow in us and through us. And we are channels. We are channels because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the more we just get out of the way and stop resisting what wants to flow through us, we are like the boat that's letting the river come and we are going to ride it out. But you have to choose audacity to believe that you are meant for abundance. If you wake up in the morning and you start telling yourself, of course I'm meant for an amazing life. Of course I am. And you just start acting, practicing that, being that woman who is abundant. What kind of woman will you be? Will you act as today? So there's going to be a lot of things that we start letting go of. That means we're not playing to our limiting beliefs. We're not playing to the old stories. So that means getting a hold of when the old stories come, we're going to take those and say, thank you for showing me where I'm not free. And then we're going to build a new empowering belief. Because queens don't play small. And queens don't keep herself in toxic situations and systems and roles that would silence her and tell her, go play little in the corner. That big life, the big dream, that's not meant for you. That's your logic. And we're going to say, thank you. That's the old stuff. And I'm walking in a new way. So this is the power that we're meant for. And this is what we're shifting into. Shifting out of that external world that would tell us that's all there is for you, and coming back inside and awakening the true power. So this week, I want you to do 5 audacious things. I want you to shift into your power state, because you're either living in a primal state, which is a low frequency of lack and scarcity and fear, and you are going to actively shift into the power state, your powerful state of frequency. So we're going to think in gratitude. We're going to think about the power in us, and we're going to act out of that place. This is the secret, my friends. This is the answer. This is the way that you get the life that you truly desire and the life that you deserve. And I want that for you. I am so passionate about you having this, because this is what you came to earth to do, to awaken to who you really are, to open the channels and to let that life force flow into you and through you. And this is what brings us freedom. This is what brings us our purpose. But we have to have the audacity, especially as women who have lived for generations conditioned that we accept little and we settle for crumbs. Look around, my ladies, at the men. Men ask for raises. They ask for what they want. They speak up. They take credit for their work. And so we're going to do that. We're going to step into that audacity. And we are still walking out of an old paradigm that would tell us as women, you don't get to be visible. That's the old, very wounded masculine paradigm that we have been operating in for centuries. And that's what we are walking out of, because as women, we have been held captive to that. Audacity is just the confidence to believe that you can do what it is you desire to do, and you're not held back by what someone else thinks about you, because we don't give our power away to what other people decide about us. Okay, my love? And I am here to spur you on. I am here to be audacious and to remind you that you are as well. I love you.